Make sure my phone's off. Silent, I mean.
Yeah, I just do not disturb all my entire Apple ecosystem.
You boys ready?
Ready.
All right, run an intro. Ready, dude. Ready to go.
And we're in. Welcome. Welcome to America.
Welcome to America. Hell yeah.
We got Dean Saddoris back with us today for the first time in a while.
I know. I missed you guys.
Yeah, we missed you too. We're not finding a bunch of stuff that we wanted to watch. Was I think maybe the big problem.
Yeah. Also, everybody's busy.
Yeah, we sort of dug into the bag here and came up with Rocky. And there's a couple reasons why I wanted to do Rocky. And this episode's going to go up around the 4th of July.
Okay.
Yeah, what's more American than fucking?
Well, I
was
was wondering why Rocky, but now I'm finding out now.
Why not? That's a better question. Dean.
That's a good question. Why not? Rocky came out in '76. The time period shown in the movie is late '75 to early '76.
Yeah.
Bicentennial 76. That was a whole big thing. Like, you guys didn't live through it, but I sure did.
We did not.
I was a kid. And
like the poster said, the Bicentennial on the Creed's poster.
Oh, yes, everything was Bicentennial. I had completely forgotten that part of it, but it entirely explains the flag shorts that.
Isn't there a movie Bicentennial Man?
Yes, there is, but that's not about the Bicentennial.
Hey,
it's about a 200-year-old robot
with the white stripe.
Yeah, yeah.
You ever seen Rocky?
No.
Damn.
Yeah, we should have made you watch it.
It's full confession. Like, I've never fucking watched Rocky
ever,
start to finish like that. Like the first one.
So I don't think I've ever sat down start to finish, but I've seen every inch of it.
Yeah.
Because like one, it was one of my dad's favorite movies. Two, like it's fucking iconic and it used to be on TNT all the time.
Yeah.
Like it was just everywhere. But what I didn't know is how highly touted it was. I knew it was like kind of a thing.
Uh-huh.
And I thought it was like the underdog story, which it is.
Which it is.
But like movie-wise, people loved it.
People loved it.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
You got an Oscar.
Yeah, and like...
Which is wild.
Wild, right? Like the character building and stuff. When I watch movies with y'all, or for y'all, for this podcast, I watch it differently. Normally, Mike just wants to be entertained.
Yeah.
And I rate it on the $10 scale. Because movies are still $10 in my head.
Yeah.
Was that worth 2 hours and $10 of my time? All right, cool.
Yeah.
But now when I'm doing a podcast, I watch it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the character, but like everything kind of sucks about it. You know, like Rocky will say something in one scene, and I'm like, oh, all right, I'm getting a feel of who this guy is, and then he'll come out and like he's like an idiot, you know, and he's a bum, and he's self-conscious, and he's not proud of himself.
Yeah,
you know, he's literally a thug for a living.
Yeah,
and then you'll go to the next scene. I'm like, oh, this guy's so charismatic. Like he's so funny. He's risen the fuck out of this pet store girl. You know, he's got game.
The autistic pet store girl.
Yeah.
Well, here
everyone kept saying, "Isn't she retarded?" You're going out with the retarded girl.
She's clearly on the spectrum.
I think she's shy.
Well, I think
she's. Well, then they talk about like, oh, it's a disease. You know, they say when you're shy, it's a disease. That was just early phrases for saying like on the spectrum.
Well,
in the 70s,
I felt like they both were, and I never noticed that before.
He is too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like Love on the Spectrum is what this movie could have been called.
It was.
When she freaks out on her brother, you feel like a little tism.
Yeah,
there was screams flying.
Yeah, her blood was boiling.
Yes. We're not being ableist here. This is just purely observation.
They say it in the movie. They literally say, "Isn't she retarded?"
Yeah, they use that a lot.
The only other thought before we go on that I don't want to miss out on is Philly, all my Johns out there, is Philly just always been the most ghetto place on the planet?
It's a pretty rough neighborhood since its existence. It's kind of like, the Bronx, right, or New York. Before like the gentrification days or whatever.
Yeah.
But like,
But you know what I mean? Like every scene there, everything's ruined.
Yeah.
And people are starting fires in the trash cans, singing, drinking alcohol together.
well, clearly that shot of him walking in that like slum area was literally they just like filmed that.
Yeah, and
because
he's-
all those people were like, "What the hell's going on?"
So-
Those weren't actors.
Yeah, actually, if you look into the trivia, that's one of the points. That was all shot guerrilla. Every
Yeah.
street scene where Rocky's running or
Yeah.
walking through or whatever, all that was shot guerrilla. They
It
had
was
no
probably all done at
permits.
3 a.m. too. It looked like
Probably so. All the people that are that you see on the sides and stuff, except for his brother in that one scene.
I assumed just because the budget, right?
Yeah.
Sly was nobody. That's the coolest part about Rocky to me is the real underdog story of Sylvester.
Sylvester Stallone,
Right,
yeah.
right? Like he's
Yeah.
nobody. I forgot the story goes deeper. I saw like a little clip on it. Someone did a montage on like Instagram, but like, did somebody die or he got divorced or he got arrested? Like something crazy happens, and then
When they
he's
filled the role with him.
No, he wrote the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought he was he always going to play the
I
the
think
Rocky
he
role?
was, but
He said he wouldn't actually sell the screenplay unless they would guarantee that he could star in the film.
no,
Okay.
they offered him $300,000 for the screen, and he said no, I'll go do it, and he did it, and ended up making 117 million
Yeah.
in the 70s.
Yeah.
And
The
they,
way that it's cut together is very rough.
no, the whole movie is insanely.
It
rough.
just like just jumps.
It's a bad YouTube film. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing going on. But
Maybe
there-
that's just early filmmaking. I don't know.
Well, the director is like super well known director, Avildsen.
Yeah.
I don't know why it looks the way it does, except that it looks very indie.
yeah,
and
it
Yeah,
looks
it does.
indie.
It
It
It was
looks
super cheap and like
30,000. I think I read somewhere or something like
that was the budget.
dude was insane. And I watched the whole credits. This is another point before Jim will reel us in, and we'll get to some kind of timeline here. I watched the credits, and to watch the credits with only like 5 names is insane. Like each
Yeah.
department's
Yeah.
one name, and I think that's partially the 70s. And partially this movie showing how low budget it was.
Yeah.
They had no employees. Where if you go watch a Marvel film and you read the credits,
Well, it's
Yeah.
it's 35 minutes.
bro, there's 100 people just under costumes.
Yeah.
yeah.
And this had one person under every single category.
Well, it helps that everybody wore the same outfit the entire movie.
Well, and it was their own clothes.
Yeah, for sure.
They're literally no, for sure, absolutely.
yeah,
they just didn't have the money for wardrobe,
Yeah.
and so like
Hey,
that.
just bring a blue jacket and just rub black ink on it.
the leather jacket that Rocky wears and the hat,
Yeah.
literally he got it at a thrift store.
With a little feather in it.
Yes.
So good. Why does everybody
in
wear those
Philly.
hats? Is that a Philly thing? Or a time thing?
I wore this hat today just for
Philly.
for the pod and the chucks.
That is a good hat. Dude, I thought about the chucks the
I
whole
wore the
movie.
chucks today because and you know what's funny about the shoes? I know I'm getting totally like I'm running away.
I'm running too.
You can tell that you know when they redid the chucks, you can get those like the nicer chucks. Those are supposed to be more accurate to the old ones. Because
Yeah.
you look at the chucks he's wearing, like those things look padded and,
Yeah.
and comfy compared to these like the cheap ones that like a lot of powerlifters like these ones are.
The All Stars are the
Yeah.
trash ones.
What's the other one called? The nicer one? It's like the 97 or the
Maybe.
67 or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
it's like a creamy
Shit,
color.
it might be the 76.
It might be the 76.
Swear.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
It literally might be.
And they're like a cream and they're thicker
Yeah.
and they're like way more comfortable. I think that was a more accurate like version. Anyways,
I'm also going to Philadelphia in a few weeks, so
nice.
Yeah, I've never really been. Even though I was just talking to my buddy Colin, shout out Power Build, about taking a visit to go see him because I've never really been there. I've been in the airport and then outside. But some of the just every scene, and obviously he's the underdog and he's poor, he's a
Right,
thug.
right.
But every scene, the city looks so wrecked. And then now you obviously hear about it because of fentanyl and whatever.
Yeah.
That Philly is just a shithole. But there's so many places like that. And I guess maybe it's all of them. Maybe it is slightly stereotyped because everyone makes fun of South Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, and Philly's that like grimy America, Italian places.
and in the 70s, New York City was like that too.
Yeah.
You know,
Not
look-
until the 90s, New York was like nice, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just the old, grimy,
Oh, like when the
Italian, hardcore patriot folk.
it was I feel like it was like in that era though, like the inner city was not a place of wealth.
Sure.
Yeah, there was no gentrification yet.
Yeah, it
really,
was like it wasn't cool to live there yet. It was
That
like, this is
was-
where you like kind of almost control the poor people.
Yeah. That was like when suburbs became a thing, right? After World War II.
Everybody got out of there.
After World War II, people got some money and they
Yeah.
started cruising out further and further.
Yeah.
So now in the 70s, suburban life is the thing.
Yeah.
That is the white picket fence, the golden retriever, and you're 10 miles
There was
outside
no
the city.
There was no like young middle class living there.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
like the richest of the rich living in the high rises or whatever in the townhouses that are like whatever, and then the ultra poor.
Yeah,
that
Jim
is true.
Mokes like
But
Rocky.
Yeah, they read that. They did show that well.
Yeah,
that was their part.
yeah, for sure.
I was always waiting for the mob boss guy to like turn on him.
No, he liked him.
I was too.
I know, but
Loyalty,
like,
loyalty, baby.
I get that, but like I was waiting for him to like be like. They almost set it up, made us think that he was going to turn on.
Yeah, that he was like friends with Creed or who knows what, or cheats the fight or something.
Or like
Bets against him.
Yeah, or exactly.
Yeah.
They like I felt that energy the whole time, but that just never happened.
I like the mob mentality, the loyalty there. Gave him
There
a little
was.
money for training.
And like even when Rocky didn't do
$500.
exactly what he told him to do, he just like lightly warned him. It's like,
good.
hey, you know, you have to do what I tell you to
Yeah, the
do,
breaking the
even if you don't want to
thumbs.
do it.
yeah, riding around in the Cadillac.
But Rocky's logic was solid. Like if I break his thumbs, he's gonna get laid off from his job, and you're never gonna get the rest of the money.
Rocky's not special. He's smart.
Yeah.
It's just
street,
how
he's street smart.
It's just his delivery. Well, I thought if he had a broken finger, he couldn't do no more work, and then he couldn't get the money to pay you.
And the crazy thing is that his voice is not as fucked up as you think it is gonna be.
No.
Either.
Yeah, he progressively got worse at his acting voice.
Yeah.
Yes, it like from film to film to film for
Yeah.
sure got worse.
The other thought I have is Rocky 1. Yeah, it's so slow. There's like no plot. You don't really know what's going on.
You
I didn't
don't.
realize how slow it was. I thought it was way more boxing. There's literally
No.
boxing at the very beginning and the very end only.
Right, exactly.
But when you do get to the montage,
Like
it's
the,
fire.
The fast-paced montage.
Yeah,
like when he's like in shape.
The gonna fly now
Yeah.
montage.
yeah, the
yes.
running down the street grabbing an apple from the dude on the side.
Yeah.
And the punching the meats. That's fire. Like I don't know if that's the first montage in
I don't know if it's the first one, but it's probably one of the most impactful,
Right.
Because it sort of changed. I mean, a thing about this movie is it changed the whole Cinderella story template.
Yeah, and I think elevated sports movies as a whole. Like obviously there's some before that. There's a couple baseball and maybe even the Indiana basketball one. You know, there's a couple sports movies, but this is like sports movie eras here.
Yeah, this one's earlier than I think all of those other ones.
Yeah, it might be. It might be. It might be one of the first ever. And boxing was
Boxing
obviously
movies,
big.
Boxing movies were big though, like Raging Bull. Like those were already
True.
like the only
Raging Bull's
sport that they
after,
really.
no?
Raging Bull's after.
Yeah, that's
Was
the
it
80s.
really?
That's
yeah,
80s. This is
79, 80, yeah.
Wasn't it black and white?
Yeah, it was black and white.
On
Well,
purpose.
on purpose.
Intentionally.
On purpose.
Yeah, I don't know the era. I didn't know that.
Yeah, because this is. I mean, 76, right?
That's
He's 30.
Yeah.
Sly's 30. Rocky's 30.
Yes.
Obviously filmed for
They
himself.
looked really good on Amazon Prime. Maybe that's why I was like,
Yeah.
It did not look like a
No, it looked good.
typical like 76 movie because I watched it on Prime. Obviously, it's been enhanced.
Yeah.
It looked like pretty good.
No, it looked good. Yeah, it's slow as shit. You don't get the plot until kind of Creed says, "Yeah, I want to fight like an all-American underdog," and then you're like, "All right, I get the plot." But there's still no plot.
Yeah.
The other thought I've had was the movies I do think progressively get better if you've watched the others. And I haven't watched them with this detail of my brain, but they get a little bit faster, a little bit more plot. There's a couple more twists once you get into 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, they get more visual as they have more
The
money.
montages are more. There's obviously a ton more money.
Yeah.
But I assume that Rocky wrote this, Sly wrote this just for one. And let's look at it just as one.
Uh-huh.
That ending does feel very hipster indie win an award.
It does, and the weird thing is that you don't watch. This is like if you haven't watched Rocky,
You got to go watch Rocky.
You gotta go watch Rocky. Stop now, go watch Rocky. Come back and listen to the rest of this. The ending is ambiguous.
Right.
Yeah.
He technically loses, and you kind of know, but you don't know.
Yeah, they don't tell
It's
you.
irrelevant.
That's
they,
how
they
this.
cut it off before they raise.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
know.
it was a split. We know it was a split decision.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
know because of the hug, Creed kind of knows he won. Like I'm not giving. He says I'm not giving you
A rematch.
a
Yeah.
rematch,
So
which
you
of-
kind of know.
Which of course was what Rocky 2 is. But anyway.
Right, and I do remember watching this as like a kid. I must have been 8 or something, because I kind of looked at my dad, because that same thing. I'm like, he lost? Like, Dad, what happened? He's like, yeah, he lost. He's like, he wins later, but he lost. I said, what the fuck kind of movie? You know, I'm 8
But
years
he won.
old.
But he won Adrian.
And he fell in love, and he took him the distance, which was his goal, which is kind of an underdog loser goal,
Yeah.
in my opinion, right?
For sure,
Because
for
he
sure.
started to get in shape, and you think he's going to build it up, and he's like, I'm going to go whoop his ass. He said, I'm just going to last.
Yeah.
that's his like, that's
Yeah.
the turning point. Like, I'm just going to survive.
He didn't get so far out over his skis.
No, he
Knocked him down.
'cause I
think
read-
he's the only person to ever knock him down.
Yeah.
and the only one to last. I did read the whole credits. He choreographed every fight scene, just him.
The crazy thing is, yeah, they had a crew, they had a fight choreography crew, and it was what they came up with was awful. And the director is like, "This fucking sucks. You guys are fired. Somebody needs to solve this problem." And Stallone wrote 32 or 35 pages of exactly what happens on screen in the fights.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The only part that looked kind of silly was when they were like, it was him and Creed at the end when they were like kind of like balling up.
Yeah.
Like
All
you know,
the
like,
fighting in hindsight, if you've seen new shit, the fighting is corny.
it's so
Like
hard
you-
to fake fighting though.
Yeah, it is.
Like look, even think about like the new Roadhouse movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Then they do
Haven't
like this.
seen
There
it.
was like literally CGI fight scenes in that too. Like,
Yeah.
did you watch that?
No.
You guys, none of you guys watched the new
No.
Roadhouse?
No.
I've seen
That might be a good episode.
I seen the old one, and I was just like, I don't know if I can handle this new one.
This one's got a lot to talk, a lot on wrap on this one.
I'm down.
maybe we'll bookmark that one.
McGregor's jacked in it. That's enough
Yeah,
excuse to
I
watch
don't-
it.
yeah.
So,
I think it's-
fighting scenes are hard, but this one, like, you can see the fist is 3 feet away in a couple punches.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can.
Where I don't know if it's one of the other Rockies. I can't think of what film. But I've seen interviews where the guy's like, "No, you have to hit me." Like, I think it is Sly, right?
Yeah, that was the deal with the first Rocky, and they have done it all the way through the Creed
Yeah.
movies, where you have to, as an actor, you have to take one shot.
Yeah, he wants
like
to get
one
rocked.
real shot.
Well, didn't like what's his name, Michael B. Jordan? Didn't he like take that one shot and like actually got knocked out?
I don't
Yeah.
doubt it.
Yeah,
Remember
in
that clip going
in the-
around
in the
from,
first
from the
Creed, I
Creed
think,
movie?
yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously times have changed, but the fight scenes in the Creeds are insane. They're really good. And
Well,
obviously the camera angles, like
yeah.
everything's mastery.
Everything's a lot faster now.
It's
the camera's moving a
faster.
lot quicker.
And they got the effects, like it's the mastery is there, but and again, this might be, for all we know, the first sports movie in history. You know, like it's not, but it is.
Yeah,
And-
like I don't know, like Bad News Bears was maybe
Yeah.
before this. Some of those.
Maybe that might be 80s too. Lots in the 80s.
Okay, so this is the only Rocky movie without slow mo in the in the fight scene. It is one of the first 3 movies to use a Steadicam. Steadicam had just been invented, and
Interesting.
so the scenes of him like going through the
Yeah.
running through the city and all that kind of stuff. Those are and going up the steps. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all Steadicam stuff.
Those weren't done on like cranes.
Huh?
Were those weren't like crane shots or anything?
No, there were those
It's like handheld
body.
Steadicam.
Steadicam. Yeah.
Another dumb thing that I realized was, and the training montage is so good, but he grabs some bricks.
Oh yeah, when he's running with him like weights.
Yeah, he's running's cool, and then he's throwing a couple punches, but then he starts doing some cheerleader shit. He's running down the street and he's throwing his fist just like
Yeah,
in the
straight
air,
up.
like random. And I'm like, dude, he's just like totally making shit up. Like he's clearly not a boxer.
Yeah.
He's like the Bosu ball guy. What's that guy's name?
Yeah, he's going wild with these bricks down the streets. I was like, what the fuck?
So he, I guess, maybe had some sense of boxing before this.
Had to, right?
And obviously, Apollo Creed is based on Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and it's the thing was inspired by a fight where Ali fought a non-ranked contender, and shit happened.
Yeah. Yeah, Ali was still fighting in 76.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, like, the Apollo Creed character is barely a character in this movie.
Yeah, he grows through the series.
Yeah, but he's just barely in it, and he does a lot of goofy shit.
Yeah.
Like, and Carl Weathers had no background in boxing at all. They had to coach him up to be able to get the scenes they got.
He looks athletic though, you know. He
Yeah,
moves
no,
around.
he's jacked.
And his shit talks funny. You know, he's Joe Frazier and all those.
I loved
guys.
his like little the one guy that was actually like paying attention.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
his one of his
Yeah.
goons that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, "Hey, you know, we gotta take another look at this guy."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they just
Yeah,
keep
he's
getting
southpaw. He's
he keeps
southpaw.
getting ignored.
Yeah.
When he
I don't
was-
want you fighting a southpaw. No, it's fine. This is our guy by
Yeah.
the name.
Yeah,
Then
just
he's
by the
like
name.
watching the videotape
Yeah.
and
Which is
he's
funny.
like, "Oh man, we gotta prepare for this guy."
Yeah.
Watching him hit the meat on the news station.
Apparently, Stallone like flattened his knuckles out from,
sure.
and he still has that issue
From the meat.
I'm
from
sure.
pounding the meat. He was really hitting the meat.
I thought
so to
about
speak.
it. Like,
He's
'cause
beating his meat.
He was beating the meat. He was beating somebody's meat.
He
Yeah.
throws a hook into the ribs, not the meat part. Like on the news. I'm like, that's gotta hurt. Yeah, that's
Well, you
gotta
know
hurt.
what's so funny about that whole thing too is like they do that whole news scene right after he did that like one time out of like rage, so he didn't
Right.
hurt his friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's
And
his
then
method.
like the news came and was like your new training method.
Yeah.
I guess that guy set that up and that was part of that. I guess.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like wait, there's something here we can use.
Yeah, all the promo.
And then he was like so ready to do it though.
Yeah. Paulie's a weird character.
Paulie is
weird.
the worst character of practically any character that sustains through any movie
Yeah.
I've ever fucking seen.
I think he gets better, but in
He
here,
must have been a good friend.
yeah, in here he's in real life. You
Yeah.
think? Yeah, because in the movie it's like it's literally the friend you don't want.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's Rocky's only friend, and you don't want to have him. But in
No.
the movie, he does get a little bit more encouraging. At least my memory in 2, 3, and 4. Like he becomes a little bit more like.
Well, he lives in their fucking house by 4 or 5 or whatever.
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
got a robot, for heaven's sakes. I
Yeah.
mean,
I love that.
For-
yeah, he's
for-
driving like a Rari in the driveway, and he's got a robot, bro, that serves you. And this is in the 80s now.
yeah, thank God he's dead by the time the Creed movies come
Yeah.
around. The first Creed movie is probably has the best fight scene, the fight
Yeah.
at the end in any boxing movie ever.
The Creeds are actually kind of good, in my opinion. Like they're not the best movies ever, but if you like kind of boxing and you like Rocky lore, I guess,
Yeah.
like they're definitely watchable.
Yeah, they were like like people like didn't really complain about him.
No,
Like, it wasn't like this, like, oh, why'd they do this?
No, I felt they were very
Creeds.
neutral, and I thought they might
Yeah.
should have got a little bit more love. But I guess you're right.
I feel like the first one got pretty good.
the first
amount
one
of
did a
love.
little bit.
Second one was okay. Third one was
yeah, it was very fine.
I think
But
the second one almost came out like too late. People like already
Yeah.
didn't care.
yeah.
I
The
think
COVID maybe might have stalled it.
it was in that era, but to revamp something from the 70s, and you're right, not get a negative,
Yeah.
is kind of a win.
And
Yeah.
it's basically the same movie. It's
No,
just
it's-
better
yeah.
executed.
Right. They almost identically on purpose.
Yes.
Like Rocky 5 is the one where he has a protege, right? 4 is Russia, 5 is where he has a protege.
Yeah, and then there's
And Creed 3,
Yeah.
it's his best friend coming back from prison. It's kind
Right.
of the same deal.
Right.
Like,
There's a Creed 3.
yeah.
Yeah.
Creed 3 is Rocky.
directed by Michael B. Jordan.
It's
Oh.
I
So you
do
went full Stallone.
I do agree with Jim. I think 1 and 2 Creed are better, but 3 is really not bad. Like it's definitely watchable. And you're not going to go like, ugh.
It doesn't make any less sense than what goes
Right.
on in the first Rocky.
Right. And the ties are kind of good. Like his wife's character is much better.
Yeah.
There's like a real story there in Creed.
Yeah.
His mom's involved, and they tie in Creed or Apollo dying.
Tessa Thompson's a better actress
Yeah,
than,
yeah,
than Talia Shire,
yeah.
too.
Poor Talia and her tism.
Just avoid all eye contact at all times.
Yeah.
I think his response is funny, and I am on his team though. He's like, she's just shy. I think she is just shy.
the thing about, I mean, like watching the trajectory of the characters in this thing, I don't understand what the fuck happened to her. It's like the moment she took her glasses off, she never put them back on.
Yeah, she became a babe. She grew up.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, so you just don't need them to see anymore?
Yeah,
Or did you get
exactly. Yeah,
contacts?
exactly.
Yeah, I don't think
Like,
LASIK was the thing.
Yeah, I don't
so.
see the scene where she got contacts.
Was that supposed to be
I don't
like
know
a-
if she
like
got
a- yeah.
the scene where she got a better haircut. None of
Yeah.
that happened.
No, I think it was the silent transformation and confidence growth to prove that she doesn't have the
so.
tism and she's not shy no more.
She's Francis Ford Coppola's sister.
Oh, really?
And the reason that she took this movie was she wanted to get out of his shadow.
Okay.
So she wanted to do something very different. So that's why she looks so shitty at the beginning of this, but toward the end, she's just like, "Oh, cute girl.
Yeah.
I'm a cute girl."
Yeah, she's not ugly.
And then by Rocky 5, she's one of the whatever housewives of
Yeah.
Well,
that's what
Beverly
they say.
Hills
They
or-
say you're not born ugly, you're born broke. Or if you're ugly, it's because you're broke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see all like the
Yeah, you're
Bezos
not ugly, you're just broke.
or the Elon, even Elon. You see Elon 20 years ago, you're like, dude, you look like Gollum. And not that he's handsome now, but at least he looks normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had some shit fixed for sure.
Yeah. Money, dude.
what is
Talia.
Also, like, are we just gonna ignore the fact that he like kind of like almost raped her?
Yeah,
in the
there's a little
house?
bit of that. Yeah.
Like, what
She's
was
just-
that, dude? Like,
It gets weird even inviting her in the house.
the
Pressure. She says no.
pressures
She
her.
says no like 5 times, and he keeps peeking his head like,
Yeah.
"Come on in."
and then locks the door.
Yes.
And
Dude,
then
you're in the hood of
corners, and then corners her.
The corner's a little much.
Yeah.
Doesn't let her like leave.
Yes.
And then she almost like goes along. It almost feels like she almost goes along with it so she doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Like that's what it fucking looked like.
I had no sense at all that she was attracted to him at all.
No.
Period.
She's
before
shy.
that, like
She's
maybe
shy.
she was
She's
like,
shy. Yeah. That's
she's either shy or she's saying, "I'm gonna settle because I really don't have any other offers on the table at the moment. I'm
she
gonna
needs
go
to
with
get out
this
of
guy."
Paulie's house.
Yeah. Well, yeah. She clearly needed to get out of Polly's house.
Do you need a roommate?
The
She
the
should have left the gas on and thrown a lighter behind her when she left. That would have been get rid of Polly.
the part where she's trying to call.
Can't throw meat no more.
Yeah. Like what? I don't know what the fuck was going on with the dialogue. His
Yeah, he wants to
dialogue
be a
didn't
thug.
make any sense at all.
He wanted to work
He
for
wanted
the
to
mob.
work for the mob so bad.
And it's like, you can't work for the mob. You got a fucking big mouth.
He
Yeah.
wanted to be a manager.
Yeah,
They'll just
so bad.
kill you.
Yeah.
The Riz continues for me, where you think of Rocky as, kind of dumb, kind of slow. All he's good is for breaking hands, kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, "Well, I got to call my brother, let him know where he is." And he just opens the window and screams out of it.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, dude, this dude's hilarious. Like, Rocky's the funniest comedian. Like, if you did that in real life, like, I feel like that's something I would actually do. You know, like, this just like a dumb kind of almost dad joke, but almost witty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, Rocky's funny, dude. He ain't slow.
Why does he have to have so many knives stuck into everything around his house? Like, that's not a
Dude.
red flag?
Or like the darts, or he's just slamming them at a wall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a picture. There was a picture there. He drew something. There was like some kind of drawing there.
There's a lot of
He is
little...
not getting his deposit back.
No,
he's not.
that whole door's
Why is there a
cork.
why is there a mattress propped up with a buck knife stabbed into it?
Dude, he's an
So it's
angry
just
guy.
like-
I didn't even notice that.
No,
Yeah.
there's shit like that everywhere. All
Yeah.
the pictures and signage in his house are
yeah, there's
weird.
like World War II knives like stuck in the pictures in the on his little like shrine.
Seabass is over
Family,
here losing it.
family shrine.
Yeah, that if you
He's got
pay
all the red
attention-
flags of being a complete psycho.
Yeah.
So those are the things I've never watched the movie for, right? Because I'm just like, oh, I'm just trying to see the montage. But then when I watch it for the podcast, I start looking around. You're like, yeah, this shit's fucking weird.
Well, it's like, yeah, no wonder she would just like went along with it in there.
Yeah, she didn't wanna
Because
die.
She's looking around at darts everywhere, knives everywhere, ripped mattresses,
Yeah.
and just mess and alcohol. And
Yeah.
you're just like, I'm going to get hurt if I don't go along with whatever this guy says.
Yeah, for sure.
But
That's
she's
what
actually
the vibe was put out.
But 3 weeks later, she's in love.
And then they're in love.
She's freaking out.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, he was harmless. He's just kind of a what's the word?
Idiot.
He's just kind of, he's just a little different.
Different. The other character, which becomes even more likable, I think, in time, which is a little questionable in the beginning, is Mick.
I was actually coming to that.
Yeah.
What is Mick's value added other than the fact that he owns the gym? I didn't see almost anything that he had to say to Rocky that like somebody off the street couldn't have said to Rocky.
Yeah, they
And he's such an asshole and such an opportunist. Like
Yeah,
he's
that
only
was-
interested in Rocky once Rocky has a shot at the title.
I mean, there is a line where he sounds like he says Rocky was lazy in his 20s when he first showed up, and that's why he didn't give him a chance or give him attention, because he could have been good but wasn't training hard. But it's a very like bolt-on layer of Rocky being an underdog.
Yeah, and you
right? It's
also-
just a bolt-on. Like, oh, here's another piece to show. Here's a one-liner to show Mick also thinks you're a loser.
Right, but do you get the sense from watching Rocky at the beginning that he's sandbagging in any way? Like
No.
it feels more like Mick is against the fact that he
Was working for the mob.
exactly.
Maybe that, yeah, which is kind of like a thing, right? Like if I'm coaching, it is just so loosely put together is the issue. Because
Yeah.
like that story makes sense. Like if I have a young protege and he's out fucking around dealing weed, yeah, I'm going to say, hey, screwball, So
Yeah.
it's maybe one of those because he's working with the mob. But they don't show any Rocky boxing. Obviously the first fight, and they display how tough he is. But that's all you really gather from that he's a tough and a little bit of a hothead. Maybe comes back to your knives in the mattress,
Yeah.
right? Like he's not fighting that hard. He gets rocked, and
Yeah.
now he's pissed and goes crazy.
Yeah.
But they don't show any of his life as an athlete. So you don't know.
We get him like 20 years in the game.
Yeah, and all you see is the mob life. You don't see if he's hardworking. You don't see his other fight. All you know that he's trying to make a buck. He's like, give me another fight.
It actually looks like he is hardworking.
It does
He's like
exactly
hustling
look
on
like
all
that.
ends. He's like hustling on all ends.
But they just don't show training.
Yeah.
They just don't show some of that, so you don't really know.
And he was kind of out of shape, right? When they first start the workout montages.
Yeah, for sure.
He was
compared to-
struggling to even get up the stairs,
Yep.
and then the next time he's like fucking sprinting up the
Yeah.
stairs.
Yeah.
And he even says, like, when he's ice skating, he's like, I'm not a very good athlete. Like, I'm not very
And
coordinated.
at one point, he just like slides on his shoes and yells, "Woo!" You're just like, what?
That's what I mean by, like, a split personality. Like, you just don't know what you're getting.
Oh, then like when he flashes on Mick, and then 5 seconds later runs down, it's like, "Hey, bro, we're all good. Yeah, let's
And
do
has
it."
the conversation
like-
that we do not hear. That's the crazy
Then
thing.
we see them shake it out.
Yeah.
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 Mick's kind of like scared, like he's gonna get hit.
I mean, you get the sense maybe he felt sorry for Mick after Mick walked away. After
got it out.
Yeah.
after the anger part
wore off.
passed, and then he was like, oh yeah, actually, like I don't know anybody else who could help me.
Mick does get a little
If
bit
the guy
more,
helps anybody at all ever. So
he gets a little bit more personality and involved in the other movies for sure. Because he wasn't even in this movie.
Mick?
Yeah.
He's in it like twice.
He's 2 lines, and then he's telling him to stay down. That's it.
Yeah, he does, yes.
That's it. He's watching him do push-ups, not saying a word.
That's right. yeah, and the first scene we get when he goes and talks to him, he's like, when he kicks him out of the locker. And that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just another like slight sign to show that he's over the hill or over it.
You put me on Skid Row.
yeah.
They call the pegs Skid Row.
Yeah, exactly. Or your shit could get stolen there. I mean,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
not secure
Apparently,
at all.
you can just take the fire extinguisher off and steal people's shit anyways.
Exactly.
Like he did.
True.
He did. That was great. And the guy who takes the locker over is talking shit to him. Yeah, I like your locker. I was like, fuck you.
He already had all of his like pictures in there,
Yeah.
women
Fully
and
set
stuff.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like his whole porn collection sitting in there. Back to budget.
Movie's crazy, dude.
IMDb says this movie cost $960,000.
$900,000?
$960,000.
I do know-
76. That's like what now?
Probably
10
that's-
million?
3 mil.
And I'm sure that's all in. That's like
Yeah.
promotional budget.
I
and
do
all
know
that.
MGM ended up signing it, right? Like it's
Yeah.
an MGM movie, so
Yeah.
they obviously were the kings of the time. I mean,
But-
they're still huge.
Grossed 117 million worldwide.
Yeah, 900. I read
That's
an article.
insane.
I read an article.
Profit flip.
Article that said 300K was what he was offered for the film, and that's equivalent to $1 million now. So let's say a third. So if
Times 3.
if it made 117, yeah, it made 350 mil. And if it cost 900K, yeah, maybe cost 3 mil,
Yeah.
which is pretty good. 3 mil to 300 mil.
That's crazy.
It does still kind of blow my mind, and I've never understood it. I guess because maybe I didn't go to film school, and maybe I'm an idiot. I've never really understood. Some movies are so good and never win an award or even get talked about, but they're so entertaining or they're so cool twists or shot so well and they don't even get mentioned. And then some movies I feel that are like very bland, but there's some like hipster artistry maybe I don't understand. And they win all these awards, And this is kind of one of those. Like I like the movie a lot, I really do, and I like the whole franchise. I was raised on it, and so like I have the nostalgia part of it. And even as an athlete, I like it. Even though it's slow. There's like the underdog story's cool. All sports movies are based on underdogs. Remember the Titans is probably one of my top 5 movies in the history of my
that's
life.
that one's
Right?
hard to beat.
And that's obviously got the social aspect to it, the racism act and sports and the underdog all mixed into one, based on true story, obviously. But I don't know if I see the Oscar in this.
No, I
Well,
agree
it's not
with you.
shot like an Oscar-winning movie. Think about the other movies that came out at that one Oscar. Like,
Yeah.
and even in that era, like when was the first Godfather come out?
Yeah, similar. Probably
Similar, right around
74
the same
maybe.
time.
Like that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. Like the way that even the transitions from scene to scene, what's going on at all times.
Isn't
Jump in-
Hitchcock in this era? 60s, 70s?
Probably, yeah.
50, 60, 70.
Yeah, and those movies are crazy. I don't like them, but I might have told the story once when we were
It's the
already here.
camera work, right?
It's
He's literally
insane.
inventing camera
No, it's
effects, right?
And maybe that's why Rocky got it, because he used the Steadicam for the first time ever or some shit. Maybe it's part of that. But I remember in summers, because my mom was a teacher, she had off, and so she's trying to find things to do with us as we were a kid, right? And my sister, for some reason, was really into Alfred Hitchcock, and so like we do a whole summers where we just go to Blockbuster and like watch themes together, because it's 100 degrees and I can only play so much basketball. And so I've watched like every Alfred Hitchcock movie ever, and though I hated it because I'm 10 years old.
Yeah.
But even hindsight of that, they're just so much better movies.
Yeah.
Actually, than Rocky, or I could at least understand why they win awards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though I personally enjoy Rocky more.
Yeah.
So looking at what Avildsen did around this time, and then after, what else did he do? Slow Dancing in the Big Cities, I've never heard of. A Night in Heaven in 1983. That's editors. I don't know. Where's the director one? There we go.
Or Homeboys in that era. Dude who shot the moon landing, Kubrick.
Oh, yeah, Stanley.
Stanley's in that
It's
era.
like Interstellar and all that shit.
Yeah.
Not Interstellar. It's gonna be Space Odyssey.
Space Odyssey.
yeah.
What's the one with the masks? The scary one, the Illuminati party. Closed eyes wide.
Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh, that
Yeah.
had Tom Cruise though.
Maybe,
didn't it?
but that's maybe that's 80s, but that's still Kubrick, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's
And those
Kubrick.
are shot like same thing, not my style of movie, but I understand if that win awards.
Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, Full Metal Jacket's
Ooh,
the
Full Metal
only
Jacket.
the only Kubrick movie that I really like.
So
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's so good.
So he directed Save the Tiger, WW, and the Dixie Dance Kings was like right before this. Also was Foreplay, then Rocky, Slow Dancing in the Big City, The Formula. I don't know if you ever saw that one. Neighbors, the John Belushi film. I think it's John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd as neighbors.
It's
They're
probably
like
been-
warring neighbors,
It's probably been on my TV.
which is another template kind of movie.
yeah.
Traveling Hopefully I've never heard of. Night in Heaven is a dance movie. And then in 1984 he did Karate Kid.
Hitter.
And then 86 Karate Kid Part 2.
Yeah.
They are
Underdog movies.
Karate Kid is the same movie as Rocky
Yeah,
for
it
the
is.
most part.
Yeah, just with a kid and a slightly more charismatic leader than Mick. Poor guy.
He did Lean on Me. He did
Yeah.
Karate Kid Part 2, Rocky 5.
That's the Drago.
And I thought that's 4. And
Which one's Drago?
I think 4's Drago.
Okay.
5 is the kid. What's the kid's name with the blonde hair? His mentee.
Yeah, that actor that ended up dying of AIDS.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I'm right though, because I always get those mixed up. Yeah, that's a tough little kid.
What's Rocky 3 then?
Mr. T.
Mr. T.
That's
Mr.
5.
T's Rocky 3.
That's 5. That kid comes as his mentor and then challenges him. He's a jacked little fuck though.
Yeah,
I forgot his name. He has a funny name too.
he does have a funny name. It should say.
Mr. T.
Tommy Gunn, young
Tommy
boxer
Gunn.
Tommy Gunn.
Right.
That's good.
Tommy Gunn.
That's good.
Tommy Gunn.
But I think that's his real name. Tommy Gunn.
His actor name, at least, the name he changed to.
That's so good.
Looks-
Oh, Tommy Morrison. Oh, while also trying to mend his shaky relationship with his own son. Yeah, his son starts to become a role in this. Sage Stallone, who is
Yeah.
his real son.
Who's his real son? Who doesn't ever play his real son?
Oh,
again.
Tommy Morrison's the real guy. Was Tommy Morrison a real boxer? Oh, he
It
is.
sounds
Yeah.
familiar.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
That would explain like why he's so jacked.
Not there, but yeah. This is older Tommy
Are those
Morrison.
chest implants?
Oh my!
I don't know. Those do look kind of crazy. He might be on a little sauce. Actually.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, he's boxing.
Yeah, he might be on a
That's
little
a part of
sauce.
the regiment.
I think he's drinking some kind of sauce.
Yeah, that too. But as
Gravy,
a
you know.
kid, he looks fucking crazy.
Oh, yeah, he looks sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a natty build
yeah,
these
yeah.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's another important point. This is Stallone before steroids.
Way before. What do you think? Rocky 3? We might have to watch them all. I think Rocky 3 starts to get crazy jacked because that's like starts
And
to
lean.
be after
Yeah.
Rambo and shit.
Yeah.
Because Rambo probably started his
Oh yeah.
drug addiction with
yeah.
testosterone and
Yeah.
D-ball.
First Blood. He's jacked in First Blood.
Yeah. And that's probably around Rocky 3 and
Yeah.
shit.
I never saw any of the Rocky movies in the theater. I don't think.
I mean, he's got to be worth like 500 million, right? Like,
Oh,
what's
probably
his,
more.
what's
more,
his-
probably
He's
more.
probably crushing it.
Probably more.
right? Like, I mean, think about all the iconic shit.
Yeah. I all these are crazy inaccurate, but we'll get an idea.
I did see First Blood in the theater.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind. Like, I watched the first of the new ones.
Yeah.
I can't remember where they were. It looked like maybe Vietnam. Like, he goes back.
Yeah.
Remember when
Yeah,
they started redoing them again, like in the late 2000s?
Yeah, I never saw that either. They do say about 500 mil. You're right, but who knows how accurate that
Yeah.
is? I feel like he's just more because he's making like 50 mil a movie. Think about the fucking checks that are coming in for every time TNT plays Rocky, and he probably owns full rights.
Yeah.
I
I
was
think he.
thinking-
I don't know. Does he have? He has rights to the Rocky character. I wonder what relationship he has from like royalties or whatever for the Creed movies.
I know he produced one. He's in one, but I think he helped produce it.
He's in 2. He's
Oh,
not.
is he?
Yeah,
Okay,
he's
that's
in 1 and 2, but he's not in 3.
Yeah, I just assume those checks are fat.
They basically wrote him out of 3 because it wasn't the movie he wanted them to
Yeah.
do. He wanted to like get in and write the script again, and they're like, no.
Yeah,
Hey,
your
dude.
little
Because
bucko.
1 and 2 was John Singleton, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, like Boys in the Hood. No, Boys in the Hood. No,
Yeah.
no. Fruitvale Station.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't really
it's Michael
fit
B.
the storyline.
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
fit
a
the
new
culture.
gen.
Doesn't,
Yeah,
fit
it's a
the,
new-
doesn't fit the culture.
They
Yeah.
did try to switch the culture up, which is modern day boxing.
Yeah.
They went into the culture of modern day boxing with the kind of the Mike Tyson vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that era of '90s boxing did become a little bit different, and I think they hit it pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, he's you know, he's Italian, but he's kind of just a white guy,
Yeah.
right? Like, if you look at boxing right now, you're looking at mostly a Hispanic and African American, like, are the kind of like the guys that are fighting the most.
Besides
right?
the Fury, but
you
even
needed some like a white Italian guy telling that story.
Yeah, even towards the end of Rockies, they do switch the vibe a little bit, right? Like he's got the robot, he's got the Rari, he's all dressed nice, his hair is fucking
I
sick.
have not seen the fucking robot.
Really, it's so good, dude. It's literally like a servant robot.
Of course.
Yeah,
like,
it's good.
Who wrote that?
And then he goes out and it's like the white picket fence mansion. He's got a Rari and a red Rari in the driveway.
He's a prize fighter.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
They showed that he's made it now. You know.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Creed 3. Like, he has a ridiculous amount of wealth. It's like strange credulity how
Boxing's like that though. Like those guys are rich.
They make stupid money. Doesn't make any just
like
these,
Ngannou, I think made like $100 million on that fight. Like,
yeah, he did. Yeah.
Like it's actually stupid. Money
Even
in
like the
boxing.
last like Canelo fight was 100 mil plus.
Yeah.
And that's every fight for him.
Yeah, if you're a mid-level guy, you're not mid. You got to be near the top. But you're making 20 mil a fight.
Yeah.
Just a fight, let alone win, knockout. Now you're at 150 mil.
Yeah. So now they do pay a ton of people.
True.
But
and there's way more boxers because this argument comes up a lot with UFC. There's just way more boxers if you take what you qualify as a pro boxer, right? There's probably 100,000 of them worldwide. So, it's still the top 5% are making all the money. There's pro boxers fighting for $2,000.
Yeah.
Where the UFC, there's not. You know, there's only a certain amount.
Has anybody ever made 100 or like what is that? How many figures is that?
Yeah.
9
10,
figures?
Yeah, or whatever.
Has anybody made 9 figures doing UFC? I don't think anybody. Maybe McGregor?
McGregor through his career, but one fight,
no.
his biggest is probably like 10 mil or something. I'm making that up, but it's much less.
So it's like, how is that even possible? Because we know that way more people are watching UFC 300 than Canelo. Maybe not. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I don't know the pay-per-view numbers because they're probably skewed like everything else, right? They're going to lie to make it look good. I think the argument comes with the fighters need the UFC more than the UFC needs the fighter because they can build celebrities, which they've proven.
Yeah, they've proven that,
right? That Max Holloway's a celebrity now. The Sugar
Sean,
right? They build celebrities everywhere, and they have historically. BJ Penn's and the Chuck Liddells, like they're really good at that. Where boxing, it is on you and your team.
Yeah.
Then they mentioned that in this movie, right? Creed has his promoter. Like there's the promoter position, which Dana White, you could argue, is the best in the history of the world.
Yeah.
Right? So you're going to want to go fight for him for less. And there's just not the other leagues are getting paid less. You know, it's just not the show.
Yeah.
Is it fair? I don't know. But
he's kind of keeping his prices where they are. It's also keeping all the people behind him even lower.
Right. Unless, because we joked about it in another podcast, but the amount of sponsors on a UFC now is insane. There's like 36 sponsors just on the Octagon.
Yeah.
And I said that, and then I watched 302, and I was counting, and there's literally like 4 per quarter per octi. You know, there's like 1, 2, 3, and then 2 on the sidebars. Like they're literally a poster board of advertising that are each paying who knows how many million to get there.
Yeah, that whole UFC thing versus boxing is interesting to me. It's like, I don't know. Who's like, you would assume that more people would watch Chandler and McGregor over Canelo and whoever else.
For sure, but I guess international.
But they're getting 20 times the money.
International might not be.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
UFC
that's
still might be very like American Brazilian, where like Latin America's probably all on the boxing. Europe,
that's all they. Yeah,
Europe's probably all on the boxing. Asia, maybe a mix because they had Pride and they have what is it now? I watched that. They kind of have their own Pride League. I think it's called One.
One does everything though.
One's
They do
jiu-jitsu, which I think is smart and it's fun to watch because it'll be like 3 MMA fights, 1 grappling match, which UFC's doing now too, right? They're doing them separate, but they're doing all these high-level grappling matches and paying those guys more money than they've ever made.
But they don't have a bitch slap league.
They got the bitch slap league, and they have the one that Uriah just fought in. Is it combat jiu-jitsu? I think it's combat jiu-jitsu, where you're allowed to bitch slap. You ever seen that?
In jiu-jitsu?
Oh, yeah. I think it's called combat. Google it. You got a Google open somewhere? Look up combat jiu-jitsu, I think it's called, or combat grappling.
I remember Dana White specifically on a podcast saying that he opened Slap League. It was on Theo Vaughn. He basically said, like, we bought Slap League just to go viral and to sell the viral, basically the virality of it for sponsorships.
Right. And
there's like, what's more viral than these videos on Instagram, someone getting knocked out from a slap, and then all the sponsors that are attached to that, like, we just cashing out. Basically, he said, like, he bought Slap League to just
market,
go viral with these viral clips and sell advertising.
I don't think we've talked about it yet, but I'm going to go UFC International Fight Week, which is
in the Sphere.
June 28th. That's in September.
Oh.
But Fight Week, they've done a partnership with Powerlifting America, which is our newest powerlifting federation, and they're doing a meet at International Fight Week.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I'm going to go see what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
So, like, it might be the same idea. What you got?
It looks like a mixture of like UFC and just like grappling.
Is it called Combat Jiu-Jitsu? Am I right?
Combat grappling?
Combat grappling. Yeah. Uriah just fought in it. And yeah, you're allowed to like...
Did he win?
No, I think he lost. He lost to Ryan Gordon's brother, who we met.
Josh Gordon?
No, that's the NFL NBA player. What's his name? Nicky Ryan.
Oh, Nicky Ryan.
Yeah. Who trains with Nicky Rod and all them. Those guys are making like $50K for a grapple. I think that's when.
And you can probably knock out way more of those a year because you're not getting like head trauma.
No, when you're grappling, those dudes could compete almost monthly.
Yeah, you compete every month.
Yeah,
$50,000 a month.
They compete often. Maybe not the combat one because I think you can straight like open hand.
You're like
full yat somebody, which could fuck you up. But it was cool to see Uriah do it. And yeah, so like, Gordon Ryan is like beyond the MJ of grappling. There's not even an argument right now, and that's his little brother who fought Uriah.
Jeez.
Yeah, who's a savage in his own
like
right.
jiu-jitsu grappling or like wrestling or like what?
All of it. So what I've come to learn, which I've never done any of it myself, I just have all these friends in it, is the cool thing about jiu-jitsu, at least in my opinion, is all the rules are very ambiguous, so it's by tournament. You know? So some may end up looking a little bit more like... That's why they just call it grappling now. You don't
more
like...
broad.
Yeah.
Because it's not one style. It's like, this guy's got a mixture of wrestling, Brazilian jiu-jitsu,
and
whatever.
the competition will light that up. So it'll be like, all right, this one, there's only a 15-minute one round, and you can only submit to win. Or this one, takedowns are worth X amount. Like, the rules differ from tourney to tourney. A little bit, I guess, like CrossFit in a way. but more guided. Obviously, it's still around wrestling. But that's why they call it that. And that's why there's combat grappling and 80cc, which is this year, which is like the World Cup of grappling, is happening in Vegas. And that's a certain rule set. And some guys like it, some guys don't. UFC has their own rule sets that some guys like, some guys don't.
Silent Mike, big grappling fan.
Huge fan. We hung out with... kind of like the Kobe Bryant of the sport 2 years ago, me and Sebas, and he was just super cool, and his whole team, the B team.
Grappling's sick. It's fun.
And it's just fun to watch that I understand just enough to like watching it.
Yeah.
We're like, you're going to choke me out. I don't know what the fuck I'm actually doing, but I like to like... And I've watched UFC since 2010.
Yeah.
So you start to just pick up on some shit.
Look at that. Yeah, look at that fucking rear naked choke.
Yeah,
or whatever.
I know.
The anaconda choke or that.
Where if you don't know,
Darce choke.
Yeah, it looks boring and they're just cuddling down there. But you start to realize they're playing hand games and shit. And the athleticism that I know they have. You know, like our buddy Nicky Rod is just a freak athlete, 6'2", 220, natty, doing backflips, deadlifting 600. You know, you just do it all. He's just a freak. And so that's cool to see them kind of get some shine in their sport. And they're just fun guys. Like the jiu-jitsu crowd is known for like chill bros.
Yeah,
and
potheads.
Yeah, the B team we hung out with are just like like they're just having a good time. They're joking. They're joking on themselves. They're called the B team because they left Ryan Gordon, who's the best of all time, and everyone called them like, "Oh, you're the shitty ones. You're the B team." And so they just labeled themselves the B team now, like joking, like they don't give a fuck.
That's good.
Yeah, I like it.
I like that.
They're the Rockies.
They're the Rockies.
The Rocky Balboas.
There was that one part in the Rocky though when he was running back to Mick where he looked pretty beefy.
Yeah.
When he was remember he was chasing him back in the street to say sorry to him.
Yeah.
I'm like, he looks like his back looked huge.
Yeah,
there.
he's probably like $170, 5'10". You know, like he's a decent sized dude. He looks natty. I mean, he is natty, but
he's like 5'6" or 5'7".
Is it really
that short? He looked huge in that scene when he was running to Mick. He looked massive. He looked 6'4".
Because everyone always said that about Sly and always said that about Arnold, but like Arnold was clearly over 6 foot. But
I feel like when I see Arnold at the Arnold, he looked like he was shorter than me.
That's what everyone always says. But I swear.
He is now, I think.
Maybe.
Shrink, I mean, he's 75 years old.
We've been in the same place as Stallone.
I don't know if
at the Arnold for sure.
I know I've been around him, but I haven't been that close to him.
Is he supposed to be pretty short?
Yeah. I've heard both. Yeah, I've heard both. I'm gonna Google
he's
it.
about 5'7".
But who knows what
Carl Weathers is a tall
5'7"?
motherfucker. Yeah, I think so. He's taller than Tom Cruise, but not by much. I think.
He looked huge.
Yeah, I mean, Google has him at 5'10", but I've heard both. Yeah, I've heard people say
he looks
like,
massive in Rocky 1. He looks tall. He looks 6'2", 6'3".
Let's see him next to some folks. This is a decent. If Arnold was 6'1", He could be 5'9".
Yeah,
Yeah,
5'9",
maybe,
5'10" makes
yeah.
5'9", 5'8" makes sense.
Yeah,
5'7"
maybe,
seems
yeah.
like
Before they
not.
shrunk.
Yeah, that's true.
They're both probably late 40s here. And there's a shit ton of
Did
articles.
they do a movie together ever?
Expendables, maybe?
Was that it?
Is
Yeah.
Arnold
that
in
it?
there?
Yeah.
They just like they
That probably made a lot of money, too.
talk about just like a missed opportunity though, just getting them like head to head in one movie.
Yeah.
In one good movie.
Yeah,
Like, the
that's the
Expendables
hard
movies are B-C movies. They're not
boy
really
Bruce.
good.
Oh yeah, man, too bad for Bruce.
I know, it's rough.
Yeah.
Like just like a head to head villain good guy movie.
Yeah.
And you don't know who we're gonna write it right now.
Yeah, I was going to say,
And we don't
or
know
they're
who's-
both good guys.
or we don't know who's the villain and who's
Yeah.
the bad guy till the end.
Maybe they're both
Is
good
it Arnold?
guys.
Is it?
Maybe they're both good guys, and they're trying so hard to be the best guy that one of them has to turn a little bit.
Yeah,
Like they have to start to create crime to save crime.
yeah. And then they realize at the end that they're both good, and then the sequel is them like teaming up to then take down real bad guys.
Yeah. Maybe we tie in like a Jingle All the Way, which is arguably Arnold's best movie.
I would say it is his best movie.
It's really good.
Put that cookie down.
It's really good. I rewatched it over Christmas time, and Jingle All the Way might be his best acting
You're in my house eating my cookies
with Sinbad. You know, yeah, and the fucking
Phil Hartman.
the rapey neighbor.
Phil Hartman, dude. R.I.P.
He's
Phil
about
Hartman was so good in that
Yeah,
movie.
he was really good. He was really good. He was answering the phone while I was
Tragic
making
story.
cookies.
Dude, so funny.
So if you believe,
cookies.
if you believe this, Willis is supposed to be 6 feet, and in that picture, he and Stallone look the same height.
Maybe.
And Stallone is listed at 5'10". You're right.
Yeah, he could be 5'10". And if Arnold's 6'1",
Yeah.
I mean they're all slouchy and not their youngest age.
Yeah. Carl Weathers is 6'5". Dolph Lundgren.
6'5".
Oh, I'm 6'2". Dolph Lundgren
6'5", yeah.
6'5".
He's a tank.
That's
all
that's
believable-ish.
Drago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. There's Drago.
Yeah,
Because he's
dude.
in Expendables.
Remember they put
Yeah.
Drago in the Always Sunny in Philadelphia? He was like he was the actor in the movies they always talked about. That was a fake movie that they always would go see.
I haven't watched that
What the
many.
hell was it called?
So, Homie's supposed to be short too. Blade.
Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes, I've heard,
He's a
is
short-
also like
supposed
5'5".
He's
Are
a
we supposed
short
to be
man.
getting a new Blade?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
With
Mahershala,
Marvel, right?
Mahershala Ali.
Yeah, in Marvel.
Yeah, he
Marvel.
looks sick
Yeah.
too. He looks good in like
Yeah.
in the picture I saw.
Yeah, this is 5'8" and a quarter.
They give him a quarter on Google.
for Stallone. Celebheights.com.
Nice.
Celebheights.
I'm gonna put my own in there.
So the singing group at the beginning of the movie,
Yeah.
over the opening credits, the guy actually singing the lead. That's,
Oh yeah,
that's Frank Stallone.
Yeah.
And then the guy that comes out of the shadows and then walks past them.
Yeah.
Later in the movie, that's also Frank Stallone.
okay.
Got to get him paid.
Yeah, no,
That's
he
the
did.
homie hookup,
He
yeah.
did, yeah.
Yeah, when he's like, what do you say to him? Like, what are you doing here? Get out of here,
Yeah.
whatever.
Something like that, yeah, Frank Stallone. Stallone, apparently, and I did not look this up, in Italian means stallion. So that's where an Italian stallion predates Rocky. That was-
Yeah.
And
Well, and there's Rocky Marciano, which was just before that. Yeah,
Yeah.
he kind of started stealing shit from everywhere.
yeah, no, for sure. But it is weird that the name Italian Stallion is the thing that clicks it for
Creed.
For Creed to decide he wants to fight him. That whole thing is just a weird setup too. It's like,
It's
You know how
random.
the Italians found America and this and that?
Yeah, it's so random.
So, well, okay, well, let's
it's a
let's relax
stretch.
on your outdated history lesson.
I do
here.
think that's the tie-in to why it was such a big thing with my childhood and my family, because my uncle is an Italian immigrant and was a pro boxer. He's in
Yeah.
the Boxing Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And he didn't go by Italian Stallion, although he should have. Although it was previous. It was in the... I think he was born in like 1910, so he's probably fighting in the 20s, 30s, 40s. But I think that's why it was such a lock-in for my dad
yeah, for
to
sure.
just like grow up the whole time being an Italian Stallion fan. Even as a kid, I couldn't quite differentiate if he was a real boxer. You know, like I didn't know what was going on. I thought maybe it was a story about a boxer.
So my dad was on the there was almost like this, like you either liked the Arnold or you liked
They were
Stallone.
enemies, huh?
It was kind of like there was like this not for everybody.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it's like you like one or the other. my dad was always like an Arnold fan, so I grew up like with the Terminator movies. My dad actually kind of hated Stallone.
Yeah,
He
it was
didn't
like a Tupac Biggie thing. You could be a fan of both, but a lot of people chose the side.
Yeah, he did not like Stallone at all. So he'd never like he saw the first Rocky whatever, but he didn't like any of it. He didn't like the boxing. He thought it looked fake. My dad was like a diehard boxing fan.
Yeah, and it does.
And he hated the Stallone stuff. So that's why I never watched it till like later on.
Yeah.
You know, like pieces of it, and then like sitting down and watching the whole thing through.
Arnold seemed to do more too. Like when he chose movies, Arnold just went in and started ripping out movies. You know, and Sly did some for sure, but
my dad hated the Rambo, like all that shit. He didn't like any of that.
Well,
overkill. He called it overkill. I'm like, well, you liked Arnold though. Like,
yeah.
Commando.
yeah, they're literally the same movie. Yeah.
Particularly early on, Arnold was more interested in acting than he was in producing and all of that. Whereas Stallone came in as an actor, writer, director, all that kind of stuff. I mean, he made fewer of the movies during that time because he was trying to have control.
Yeah, maybe he was an artiste, more of an artiste mind, and Arnold was just a business mind.
I think by the time the Creed stuff came around, he was a hack. But early on, he was like, there's the scene in the night before the fight when Rocky has gone out. He went to the auditorium. He has that conversation with the ring announcer dude who's an asshole.
Oh, he's just kind of like looking around.
And then he comes back and he's
why was that guy there?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Setup.
In the middle of the night,
He's
I don't know.
Up, checking the audio.
Yeah,
He's
sound
just
check.
hanging out there full
check
suit.
Check one. Check. And he comes back and has that conversation with Adrian in bed when he says, "I can't do it. I can't beat him." All that stuff. That scene was not originally in the movie, and they had basically run out of budget, and so he wrote that scene, and they gave him one take to do it, so he had to just rip it.
Interesting.
And I think the movie doesn't work as well if you don't know.
Yeah, you need
going
to know his
in
goals. Yeah.
that all he's trying to do is go the distance. Yeah. Like
Interesting.
Yeah, that is kind of a turning
Yeah, it kind of needs that part.
Yeah, because otherwise the whole thing, it already doesn't matter because the underdog fight seems wild in the stretch to choose an Italian-American for the pride of patriots.
Yeah.
And then for him to not believe in himself, you need like an ounce that he's semi-confident he could do something special.
Yeah, which would be last.
Yeah, which is true, right? Like he's kind of not a pro boxer, and he's going against the world champ.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fighting in little like halls.
Yeah, and spoiler alert,
illegal gambling going on.
Spoiler alert, Rocky 2, he becomes the champ. He fucking knocks his ass out.
Yeah.
He wins. Fuck you, Apollo. And then
how many years after does Rocky 2 take place?
2 or 3. It's pretty tight. And then Rocky 3, I think all the movies are even 2 or 3 years apart. The first 3.
Yeah,
they're close.
I think that Rocky 2 almost immediately follows the Rocky 1.
Story-wise, maybe. Yeah. I think it's 2 or 3 years in production, but maybe in the story it's pretty damn immediate.
Yeah.
And then 3 or 4, they're running on the beach half naked together, doing the bro shit.
Yeah.
Training out, short shorts, dancing in the tide pools.
That's right. I saw someone reference that.
It's good.
Running in the sand like it's Rocky. Good. Like after we watched this, like it was like this morning.
It's a really good montage. The montages do end up getting better and better. By Rocky 4, I mean that montage is modern day magic.
And 5 is all montage, right?
Yeah, which I like. The Creed too. Creed, there's some sick montages.
Yeah.
They do like some Olympic weightlifting in 5.
Yeah, all that. Yeah. And in the lab, the
There's
Russian
some clean and
versus the
jerks.
regular. Yeah, we didn't get to see Apollo train in Rocky 1. That's where they missed out.
No, yeah, we did. Like I said, he's barely a character.
Yeah, they don't show him doing anything.
And Mick is barely a character.
There's a lot of people that are barely in it, and then we get way too much of his best friend that's degenerate.
It's just Rocky and Paulie. Yeah, the whole movie.
Oh, that guy. Jesus.
What an awkward duo, too. Like
he walks around with just full bottles of booze in his pocket at all times.
Yeah, they don't even seem
drunk.
like friends. You get no chemistry.
Well, they just grew up in the neighborhood together.
Yeah, that's it. They're the only ones that lasted in the neighborhood. Everyone else left.
And Rocky has no family.
Yeah, he's got nothing.
Calling that 12-year-old girl a whore.
Yeah, that was weird.
Ripping the cigarette out of her mouth, and then 10 seconds later, he's ripping cigs.
He's lighting his own.
You
don't want to be known as a whore.
That was another really shocking thing about it, just all the smoking that he does.
Yeah, a ton. I mean, it's the era, right?
Yeah, I guess, but like, I mean, that is the maybe not a serious athlete kind of.
Yeah, maybe that's
part of it.
Yeah, maybe that's echoing Mick's.
Also, the most famous line from this movie ever: "Women weaken legs."
Women weaken legs.
Yeah, he said, "Don't not right now." And she's on her knees, fucking begging for a kiss, begging for some Rocky cock. She's literally on her knees.
We've lost
He's like
Seabass now.
He's shoving her off the chair.
Then he goes and apologizes to her.
So bad.
He's such a like a what's it called? Narcissist kind of. In a way. He's just kind of like, you know.
He's about himself for sure.
He's so selfish.
Yeah, he's
but
about
then
himself.
also like.
Yeah, he's a womanizer. He's got
womanizer. He's kind of like sociopath vibes, kind of like manipulating this woman.
Yeah, he's playing
personal gain.
The poor shy girl, just to get the dog. Spoiler alert too. He gets.
It's
the dog.
all about the dog, so he can run with the dog.
Yeah, he gets the dog in Rocky 2.
I sold you those turtles.
Yeah,
I know. I sold them to you.
I think the most unhinged scene in the whole thing is when Paulie takes the baseball bat to his own fucking apartment.
Yeah, it goes ape shit.
It's like, why are you doing that? Like,
Just
what
freaking
are
out.
you proving?
And what are you so mad? Like your sister literally fucking babysits you.
I mean, he's drunk.
Yeah.
But like, he doesn't have a complaint that is legitimate.
Yeah.
He's just mad because he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, he blames her for not getting married.
Yeah.
He blames her. It's like, hey, have you looked at yourself?
Yeah, buddy. I don't know.
Also, what was he doing staring in that mirror, combing his hair for like an hour?
I don't know.
When he's talking to Rocky on the broken mirror?
Yeah, he's a
Remember that when we first meet him?
He's a little into himself too, I think.
Oh, man.
What's our rating?
Okay.
Golden Gloves, right? Or some shit.
No. Cut eyelids, man.
Oh, that one's good. He said, I know I'm going to see. Just cut it.
Cut me.
How about the bubble gum they just put on their eyes to make them look swollen for the special effect?
Yeah, not the best special
What
effects.
was that?
Swollen eyes.
Okay.
You know, I it's hard for me to judge because I've seen the other Rockies, and I do think progressively they actually get better. Although without this one, you can't have the others.
Right, exactly.
So that taken into account, this might be my highest rating ever. I might give it like a 4.5. Rocky's it. You know, like as many movies I've gone back to, even Star Wars, which I'm a huge fan of, sometimes you'll feel the era so much.
Yeah.
And you definitely feel the era here, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But there's some magic in the simplicity of the character and the movie. Like it's so streamlined. You don't have to think, but it still kind of captures you.
You don't.
And then you kind of want to see Rocky 2 after this.
The other movie that this one really reminds me of is Saturday Night Fever, which is a little bit later.
Yeah,
but it's similar, like indie vibe movie.
Even like Pulp Fiction has like a similar vibe to this. You know, that era does have this very streamlined story, and you don't really know the plot, but it doesn't matter, kind of too.
Yeah,
like the plot of Pulp Fiction doesn't matter at all.
No, you're just kind of following the guy's day, and here you're just kind of following Rocky.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have no perception of time when you watch Rocky either. Like, how long?
How many days, weeks? Was
this 3 hours or was this 45 years?
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be 4 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you have no clue.
3 months, something like that. No, well, it's before the day before Thanksgiving, 1975, and I think the fight is maybe in February, which is not much.
Yeah, because they go through Christmas, they go through Thanksgiving. I guess there is some kind of. They really actually. I take that back. I guess you're right. You do know because like they really force the holidays on you, so you know where you're at in time.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing I was just going to throw out is that my experience. I didn't see this movie when it first came out, but what my experience was the music. Because I was in band in high school, and we played "Gonna Fly Now" all the fucking time, in the hope that the football team would ever like win anything. You know, even make some kind of a touchdown.
Is this the most iconic movie song ever?
I feel like it's got to be in the conversation.
Yeah.
What's more
like
famous?
That and Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah, Star Wars.
Which is also
Star Wars.
Rocky related.
James Bond, Star Wars this.
Yeah.
Was this made for the movie? The score, was it already?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So,
and
it's
iconic
up there,
as it gets.
It's like the Star Wars theme. And the Rocky.
It's been used in every rap song ever.
Yeah.
Like it's so good.
Yeah, it is.
And it doesn't. They don't even fill it out in this one. They start to fill it out orchestrally in beats and as the movies progress.
Yeah.
Even in Creed, J. Cole spits a bar over like a new version of the song. It's so good and it's so iconic.
Yeah, there's a one scene though, the "Gonna Fly Now" scene with all the lyrics. That's cringe.
Yeah,
the lyrics are cringe, for sure.
Yeah, you need a little just a beat.
Getting strong now.
Yeah, it's a little rough.
What's more iconic for Rocky though, Eye of the Tiger or the original song?
Both are so insane.
Yeah, it's like you can't separate the James Bond theme from all the original, themes for each movie. The same way that you can't.
Yeah, they're the same song, but not.
Yeah. You can't separate "Gonna Fly Now" from any of the other ones.
Have you guys heard the story of Eye of the Tiger?
Huh.
How it became about?
Mm-mm.
So they were supposed to, I think, write a song for this movie. And they had to write 3 songs, and they were going to pick one. and they wrote 2 that they were like, oh, they're gonna for sure choose one of these 2 because these are like bangers,
And they didn't like them.
and then they're like, well, we just got to make a 3rd one just to fill the like what we were asked to do. So they banged that one out in like a couple hours.
Eye of the Tiger.
And it was Eye of the Tiger, and that's the one that like that's how that song like became iconic.
It is so iconic.
Yeah.
It's so iconic.
Crazy story like that. I was like, we
Survivor,
got to give
yeah.
them something.
Yeah, filler.
Yeah.
It's a hitter.
Interesting story.
Dean, what's your rating?
My
on
rating,
this
I'll
one?
give it, 3.5. It was okay. I'm not like
You like Arnold, dude.
I'm
Just
an
say
Arnold
it.
guy.
That's fair.
I was kind of groomed to be an Arnold guy,
That's fair.
Stallone, it was fine. I thought it was, it was watchable. Obviously it was kind of long. For how
Yeah.
streamlined and how like
Yeah.
bare bones it was kind of long.
There's a lot of turtle scenes and shit.
A lot of
turtle
turtle scenes.
Yeah.
A lot of like walking from one side of the frame to the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like on a stationary camera.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
That's a very 70s
Yeah.
kind of trope.
35 millimeter, probably. Like what is that?
Yeah.
They're just trying to set the stage, but you don't really need to because
Yeah.
there's nothing going on.
And there's a lot. Just because they didn't have a lot of cast for this, there's a lot of scenes of Rocky talking to himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also just like grabbing that bouncing that racquetball.
Yeah.
Or catching it. Is that like a hand-eye
hand-eye.
drill?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say that you can't diminish the fact that this set the template for what the Cinderella story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe every
underdog.
sport. Yeah.
Every single element that you're ever going to see in that kind of movie
Yeah.
is in this movie.
Yeah. They made
I mean-
montages cool.
Yeah, they did everything. I probably got to go 4
Fair.
cut eyelids, even though, for its importance, not necessarily for how much I enjoyed watching it. It was how much I enjoyed.
Significance.
Yeah, it's the
Mine's
significance and how much I just was recognizing all of those things that have become the norm in that type of film.
Yeah, my rating's not entertainment.
No,
Mine's the whole
yeah.
package.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's the
And
package.
you've seen more of them than
Dude, I love. They do progressively maybe get better. Like Rocky 4, I think a lot of people say is the best Rocky, like the Drago one.
Yeah, that's the one I remember
Yeah.
the most.
But the other ones start to they're pretty good.
I saw Rocky Balboa, the 6th one, in the theater.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not terrible.
It's not terrible.
Yeah, it's not
Is it
terrible.
like his like last hurrah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, before
Creed.
Creed, yeah. But that movie and Creed, they feel connected.
Yeah, yeah.
It's-
Which is probably what the bigger plan.
Yeah, so Rocky fights in Rocky Balboa, and obviously doesn't fight anything but cancer in Creed, but it feels like the same character.
Yeah. Yeah, he almost takes a new vibe to himself. Then the character creation is a thing.
Yeah,
Like you know who Rocky Balboa is.
right, yeah.
Where this one I don't know if he's funny, I don't know if he's not funny, I don't know if he's a bum, I don't know if he's
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, you don't really know yet.
Knife collector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Murderer.
We might have to do 2.
Yeah, or a Creed or bounce
Yeah.
around with him or something.
Yeah, well, you probably could do Creed right now. It'd be a direct comparison because
Yeah.
Creed's the same movie. It's
yeah,
just
it's 1.
Yeah,
Or we go 4, Drago.
Drago's epic. Mr. T's not bad.
Yeah.
2 he wins. Yeah, 5 we could probably leave out, but maybe a 2, a Drago, or a Creed.
I haven't seen Creed, so maybe
Creed's pretty
Creed.
good.
Oh, you haven't seen Creed at all?
No.
Creed's pretty good. Yeah, you'll get the vibe for sure.
Yeah, no, it's definitely back in Philly and the whole 9 yards. But that's a really, really good movie.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good too.
Yeah,
it's
you see all the gears turning, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and it's like it's all coming together towards something that
If Rocky had a budget
right.
and it was established,
Yeah,
it
and
would have been Creed.
and it
That's
was
what Creed feels like.
And made in the 2000s.
Yeah, like a good Rocky.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, kinda, for back of a term.
Yeah, it's like the modern take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a remake without it being like a direct remake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what Star Wars 7 tried to do poorly.
Yeah, Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a remake,
Yeah,
but it's
a bad. Star Wars did a bad version. Creed did a good version.
Yeah.
like
Where
they
it
just went-
tugs your nostalgia strings, but it's still new and fresh.
Yep.
You guys started, not that we'll get off into the side stories here, but have you watched The Acolyte at all yet?
Yes.
No, I've heard
I'm
mixed.
caught up.
I watched the first one.
Yeah, I watched the first 2. They released 2.
Yeah. My problem is, I think it looks cool and it sounds interesting. I just don't know if I care. I'm running low on care.
Well, I got my black belt in the High Republic era. Like as far as like, I've read all the books and all
Yeah.
the comics, like 10,000 pages of this shit, And like this takes place like 100 years from like where the timeline is in there.
Yeah, before.
And there's like kind of one carryover character from that time, and obviously like Yoda's alive at this time still. I haven't seen Yoda yet in Alkalite, but it's fine. My only problem with it is just like the media that they're running with it. It's just everything about it's just like so like the show's fine, but then like the other side of it, the marketing of it is like everything I've seen has been just about not the show.
Yeah, that's what I've been.
And I'm just like,
too.
why does this have to even be a thing? Why can't we just talk about the show?
Yeah.
Like I don't.
You can never do that anymore.
I'm okay for like whatever. I don't give a shit. You know, like I don't care.
Yeah, if it's good, it's good.
If it's good, it's good.
Yeah.
But then like all the people in it are just only talking about things outside of the show.
Yeah.
And like that, I just don't. And it's being forced in my feed because I'm interested in Star Wars.
Yeah. Everyone does make everything political.
And it's like this thing is so like I don't care. I wouldn't even notice this probably. Like I don't care. Just like make the show good.
Actually, I read a Reddit thread this morning talking about seamless handoffs in franchises.
Yeah.
And the Rocky to Creed is one of the most seamless handoffs ever. Star Wars has not done a good job with it.
Yeah, they
fumbled. Oh God, no! They also just like all the behind the scenes drama.
Yeah, they fumbled everything.
And then it just gets everybody's just like trying to outdo somebody's what they thought someone did wrong, and then it makes for a bad product.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like I feel like that's kind of continues in Star Wars forever. It's like, oh well, like we're gonna go the complete opposite of this because we want to be more this way, and then it's like, well, then now it's just obvious. Now it's distracting.
I think that the only decent thing that they've done, since episode 6 is probably Andor, and that is a very specific audience.
Yeah, Andor's great and fantastic, and I like Mandalorian.
Yeah, Mandalorian got some run.
That's like that's your popcorn. Okay. That's your popcorn show, right? Like that's your
that should be the branch off.
Yeah, that's your popcorn in your face show. Then you got your niche like drama, like Andor, right?
Clone Wars
and Clone Wars.
All those are good. They're just
Bad Batch was pretty terrible.
Yeah.
This whole last season of Bad Batch
Rebels
was like
okay.
The worst shit ever.
Yeah.
But
that's it. Creed.
Seamless transitions. I need to watch Creed.
Yeah, we'll do that. I gotta pee hella bad.
All right.
Fire away, Dean. Where can I find you?
At deansaddoris.ck at Caffeine and Kilos for your coffee and lifting needs.
Boom. Sabas, hit him.
Sebastian_Brambila on IG.
Ladies and gentlemen, new episodes Wednesday and Friday. I'm Solid Mike, where you can find me. 3rd Street Barbell, Sacramento, California.
I am at the Jim McDonald on the social media. The show is 50% facts, where percent is a word and 50 is just numbers. 50% facts. This is Spreaker Prime Podcast in association with iHeartMedia on the Obscure Celebrity Network. We'll talk to you Friday.